Well, welcome back to Real Talk with DMJ. You know, we're here to have my guests return. We have Chante Gaines. Thank you for being here, coming back to continue this conversation. We have business owner, entrepreneur, Naya Smith with us. Thank you also for coming back again to have this conversation. This conversation, I was listening to you ladies, and I saw that you were very emotional, and it hit so close to home and your heart. You know, and when you brought me up into it, you know, I took a big being wounded for 3 whole years, you know, defaming me, you know, making up all those allegations. What happened at the Midway Hotel, making me the downfall guy that makes 79 of our clients become homeless. You know, we have the emails, you know. I'm going to see Kirsten Jewell had put out, Deborah Jackson's going to see them through this, you know, to help them to transition. I didn't even have a clue, wasn't even asked. But I was the fall guy, and this is why, when you asked me, I would have never said anything. But this is why I had contacted Bremerton Sun when we were in a meeting. And when all this was going on, I took a beating for 3 years, but I continued to help and stood strong.
Absolutely.
And everything, helping my community, helping our tenants, helping the clients, helping our landlords.
But you also, sorry to cut you off, Ms. Deborah, I watched you do that also while not talking bad about them or against them.
Exactly.
Knowing that they did this stuff to you.
Still sending people.
You never not one time said anything bad against or towards them. And just even knowing that you have been blackballed by them. And that, to me, I do have to say, I witnessed to watch that when it came to you, which is why what's actually inspired me to even to come and volunteer and help you out from the beginning, because I did, for some reason, at that time, we ended up crossing paths, and I ended up volunteering and working with you during that.
You volunteered to work with her?
Okay.
We do it with multiple of your...
I was kidnapped. I'm still kidnapped.
Well, yeah, that's technically...
Yes. Well, you know, once you come with me, you never can leave, you know, definitely. I think it's our passion and the work you see and how I'm loyal and I'm dedicated of serving
and
our
hardworking
people. Yeah, I am. Yes.
That's what took me for a loop. And honestly speaking, to this day, everyone in the community still says, "Hey, Miss Deborah, have you seen Miss Deborah?" Because
she's a man
you
of
literally
many hats.
Right. It's almost like, why don't you work at KCR? Because it's almost like a person who, when people need help, they need help.
You follow through.
Right. When people don't know how they're going to feed their children, don't know where their children are going to lay their head, don't know what their next move is, people lean. And when they're able to say, okay, finally, I need help, that takes a lot.
It is. It does.
Because I'm a mother of 9. You're a mother. You're a mother. It takes a lot for a parent
especially
to
a
say,
single one that's not
I can't take care of my kids. I need help.
Yep.
It takes a lot. So first they take that step. But then once they take that step to be mocked and to be treated disrespectfully and
to be abandoned and let down,
right? And it's kind of like you, like you're following the program, and then here you are homeless, and you're confused, like, okay, hold on,
like I held on to my end of the bargain,
and then for them to look at you crazy to the point where they don't even know what program you're talking about. How are you taking over a position and don't even know what you're taking over?
And then when they look my name
studying, is there no classes when you know? I'm a nurse. So when you take a night shift from a daytime nurse shift, from the swing shift nurse, we call it, we exchange notes. Hey, this client needs
educate someone about
room
what
B
this
needs a
program
diaper
consists
change
of.
or a brief
You have
change.
a report.
You have a report.
Yeah.
So how are you taking over a whole position and don't know who your client is and don't know who you're dealing with, don't know what program she's in, but then
and yet
her
receiving funding for these programs.
But now you and your kids are taking the fall for it.
Yep.
You guys are homeless for
So you
their
got into
mistakes.
this program. We're gonna run. So you got into this program. You were compliant. It worked out for 6 months. Then it fell off. This is what I'm hearing you saying. And then at the end of the day, you ended up homeless. And then you went to KCR because they just received more funding for the hotels. And you went there to get assistant for the hotel and discuss with them about the program to see if you can get reinstated back into their program.
I tried to get reinstated before I received an eviction because of this. So from them terminating me to the moment they terminated me and they decided that they were no longer going to pay my rent, which was in February of this year. And so
2024.
So they stopped paying my rent in February. March, April, May was when I received my eviction notice. That's when I found out they hadn't been paying my rent for 3 months. And so I was like, there's nothing I can do. I can't stop this now because I wasn't received any kind of notification prior to be able to stop this, to be able to step in and intervene. And so that's when I was like, let me contact them and find out what's going on. Why have I been terminated? And so that's when I was receiving the runaround from everyone. They didn't even want to really discuss anything with me. There's nothing we could do, nothing we could do. That's what basically I was being told. And then by Trinity over at Bremerton Housing, she was telling me, just go and try and find out who your case manager is, try and get reinstated, and then you can come back and then I'll put you back on payroll. We'll just go ahead and start paying your rent. And then you guys figure out what you're going to do with your housing voucher because this is your second year right now. And so it took a while for me to find out who my case manager was. When I finally did, I spoke with her. She told me she had.
So when did you finally speak with her?
It was about a month after Trinity had sent me to go find out who
what
my
month
case
was that?
That was in February, March, April, May. So May. It was around close, like almost.
Was it right before your
June.
eviction or after your eviction?
It was right when my eviction, right before my first
court date.
Court date. My cause, that show of cause court date. It was right before that, and so I ended up, and so because I wanted to find out from KCR also not only.
Did you go to court? Excuse me. Did you go to court in, was it April, May?
I went to court in June.
Oh, June. So you just now found out who your caseworker was in June, and they stopped paying your rent, you're saying, in February. So, and then you didn't get your case manager.
I didn't talk to my case manager
until June, when
like
you're
May,
going through
at the end of May.
At the end of May, June. That's quite a span in there. You know what I'm saying? To get lost in the shuffle and trying to navigate and fight, to save your house, for you and your 3 daughters as a single woman. Yeah, I'm really sorry that, you're going through this and this happened to you and your children, especially after you were doing so good in the program and it just fell off after 6 months. I mean, you learn how to balance a checkbook. I mean, you were learning life skills. I mean,
that didn't even hone at first, knowing that I was already a teenage mom and I was just living life, just mismanaging my money, just living day by day.
So the program was effective.
It was
at
in
first,
the beginning.
and then it just in the beginning, and it just fell off. It was a 2-year program, but it seemed like it only lasted 6 months for you.
Absolutely.
And then you just got lost, and the program just failed. But they still kept receiving funding, grants from the county to continue the program. But here, you ended up homeless.
And they had to have, because otherwise, how would they have been able to pay my rent? My rent was $2,050 for a small 3-bedroom apartment. And it was being paid the whole duration of that 2 years. It was after that February that was my 2-year cutoff mark.
So in other words, not to cut you off, but what I'm looking at, so nobody was accountable here.
No.
You're homeless in a hotel. Now you're seeking hotel assistance from them, and you're struggling with that.
And they're trying to tell me that there's no funding. I'll give you a hotel. I'll pay for your hotel for 2 weeks. And I say to them, then what? What after that? What can you do for me after that? Because I have 3 girls. School's about to start. What are we going to do after that? Where do we go?
Did they talk to you about shelters or Did they
It's that
talk to?
rescue mission. I'm not going to take my kids there. I'm not taking my kids there. There's absolutely no way. That's not an option for me and my kids because we deserve better. I did what I was supposed to do. I held up my end of the bargain that is on contract, on this contract that I signed. So Kitsap Rescue Mission was not part of that contract. I'm not going to do that. You guys,
because you did what you're supposed to do. You fulfilled your part of the contract that you signed with KCR, being in that 2-year program.
Yep. So my daughters and I going to Kitsap Rescue Mission
homeless.
is not an option. You guys will not send us there. That's not where we're going to go. I refuse. We don't deserve that. It's already bad enough we're living in a hotel, and my daughters have to transition into that. But they don't have their own rooms anymore.
I'm sure this,
They don't have a home anymore. Mm-mm.
And that was taken away from them due to the fact is a worker did not do their job. The program, in other words, the program failed you. And there was no follow-up and follow-through. Now I want to say, now you see why I fuss. Say what I say, and I am so hard when you're working with people's lives. And I'm strong on the client and who we're working with to help them to get to the next step. You know what I'm saying? To make sure this does not happen.
And that's why I work with you. That's why I fight with you, because I know firsthand you have people's best interests in heart. I've seen it. I've lived it I've literally seen you pull people out and pull money out of your own pocket to put people in hotels when KCR would not. I've watched you do it, you with your brothers and helping your brother and his mental status and things. I've watched you do a lot of stuff. And so, I took a lot of stuff personal because I know Hope 360 and Survive and Change and even some of the other programs, we're frontline people. So to even hear her, it's really, I can see it in your face. It's like, it's kind of working. What can we do? Because that's what we do. That's what we do. You do it with us too.
Yes.
This is what we do. It's not just because we work and we're out here doesn't mean we don't suffer as individuals and have our own things that we battle and task with our own families, but we still get up and we still help the community. That's what I'm saying. When you're on the front line and you're actually at these people's homes and you walk in here and you see these children and you deal with these people, and we don't just fill out paperwork. We're social workers.
Yes.
We do the back work, the front work, the end work, and we're attorneys. We're we wear many hats. We're legal. We're doctors.
We won't say we're attorneys. We can't say that.
We're not attorneys, but I'm saying we think we are.
No.
We're not attorneys.
We're not.
We really do fight. And we fight and we do our best. And I don't know what it's going to take, honestly, and not to jump off.
Such a big organization.
No, go ahead.
But I just feel like, what will it take for commerce and the federal government and
Commerce, the county, to revamp and relook. Who you are funding.
Yes, absolutely.
And then make them accountable.
Right.
Yeah.
As you know, every time I know that Survive and Change finish a program, we could give our numbers.
Yes.
Who we serve, LGBTQT, I'll never know how to say it correctly. We serve them, Native Americans, white people, black people, the Samoan community. We can tell you how many people we serve, what race they were they successful, where they're at today. Plus even when they're successful, they still stay with us.
There are no cases that have fell off and that you left them abandoned.
And they come back.
Yep.
We've been sitting in the office and people done brought pizza.
Not only do they come back and they bring others with them.
And saying, I got a job, thank you, here. And we're like, treating us the food
stories.
and stuff. So
they're not anything.
That makes you feel good to do it. Sometimes sometimes money isn't everything. Sometimes it's what you're able to just give within yourself.
Yep.
Yes.
And that means a lot to people when people know they can trust you and they can trust you with their life, their business, their children. I just want. I'm on the war with you when it comes to what we both know, and anybody who's worked with any of the buy and fours, everyone knows things are just not properly being done, and they're not.
Do you think they
helping the
tried to do
people.
away with the buy-in force?
I think what they
Because
did-
we were holding them accountable.
I think
and
what's-
they got somebody else new in there
I think
that's
what's
not
going on-
gonna hold them accountable, that knows what's going on.
Yes.
We know the process.
It's like the Illuminati of the housing community. That's what it is. It's like the dark world of the housing community, and it's just they're all tied in to one another. They're all this like dark community that just it's like the shadow government.
Right.
It was what I call
No,
it.
we have to come in defense of, because I believe BHA under the new director, executive director
I think they're
Jill
doing
Staton.
amazing,
She's
absolutely.
amazing. We saw a big change there.
That's their guiding, their shining
she's
light.
doing the damn thing. That is their shining light. Thank you for saying that. She has brought in so much funding, so many programs, and she's working her ass off.
Well,
Yes.
And it's hard to clean up somebody else's mess. Like
Correct.
Yeah.
She came in there and had to clean up and try and, put the right tools in place, get the right tools in place, move tools.
yeah.
Yes.
And speaking of that, when I went down to KCR for the help, because you brought up Bremerton Housing, I'm like, it just put in my head. They told me to go to Bremerton Housing for funding.
For the hotel?
Yes. They told me we don't have that much funding left. Oh, because, they help with paying, like if you're being evicted, paying your back rent, helping the eviction process. That's what they're contracted to do, to help us navigate through that process and get us to the proper people. They told me to go to Bremerton Housing Authority, and then I sat there and looked at her. She was like, "What's wrong?" I said, "Did you just tell me to go to Bremerton Housing Authority for rental assistance, and I'm not on Bremerton Housing?
Yeah.
I don't have Section 8." I said, each person has a pot of money for a reason.
Correct.
I said, I'm coming to you because I am eligible for your pot of money.
Yep.
You can't send. I said, I'm not a Bremerton Housing client. Oh, I know, but they have. I said, I'm not a Bremerton Housing client. This is what they're doing. They're passing people over to Bremerton Housing. Why are you sending non-Bremerton Housing people to Bremerton Housing to get Bremerton Housing? And guess what? For fun, let me entertain it. Let me go to Bremerton Housing. Oh, you know what? You're not a client.
Yeah.
I know that. I just
we
wanted.
know that.
I know that. I just wanted to entertain this. I just, this is what I'm saying. People can stand up in front of whomever they want. We've seen it done before.
Yes.
Stand up in front of whoever they want. And I think that's exactly what happened to you.
Well, and correct. And I would like to say this. This is what some of us buying for has been talking about. I think the reason why a lot of us, we didn't get the contract and we were supposed to, and we got pushed out because we were holding KCR accountable.
Too boisterous.
And they did not want, no one to hold them accountable. You know what I'm saying?
To be honest,
They wanted
they were trying to shut you down.
Yeah, because you were a liability
You're
for them.
a whole liability to them because you were relentless and you never stopped.
That's
and you made them accountable for everything they did and everything they said. You kept paperwork, you kept conversations, you kept dates and times.
Paper trails.
And they're not used to that. And we can say, yes, I think as a collective, all the buy and fours are being drowned, go down the river, we're going to the Green River, okay? I do believe that. But I truly believe you definitely are being pushed aside because they want you silenced personally. I think it's a personal attack. I don't think it's
Absolutely.
I think it's a personal attack. And I say this because you're very boisterous. You know, we work with you and everything. You drive us crazy. So can you imagine a person?
So can you imagine somebody that you know?
Can you imagine a person who
is really knowingly sitting there and
you're very smart and you're very business savvy and you're very intelligent and you know a lot of stuff and you sit and you don't, but then you're very voiceless.
Intimidating to people.
Exactly. And it is, especially to people who are trying to hide things.
Yeah, and then they are uneducated.
Yeah.
On top of uneducated, they're unethical. And so
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're uneducated because they do have
they're
people that...
uneducated about their programs.
Okay, I would say that.
They're unethical about how they conduct the programs. And so honestly, that serves them.
And this is the community talking. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
So, this is what we experienced, and this is what we were trying to tell them. This is why this is the whole reason the buy-in force was invented. Because KCR lost the ability to gather the community. They didn't want to go to them. It took us to do that. So, but how does that make you feel? I mean, I know you're the host. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Hey, this is real talk. I'm letting you talk.
And we're talking about KCR, and I just can't help to see what I witnessed. And it's like they allowed you to promise things to the community, and then they snatched it and then left you to hold the bag on explaining to a hotel full of people where they're going.
Yes, the Midway situation. Yes, definitely. I think that's why I brought it out.
And didn't even have your back on top of that.
And left me in the dark and did it intentionally. You know what I'm saying? The emails are out there.
Literally trying to buy the Midway out so we can even keep people there. I remember when they did that too.
Yeah,
so.
I'll never forget Bonnie and her son because they got offered the $1.3 million if they would not work with us and work with Kirsten, the county. And then when I brought that to the forefront, remember there was two different ledgers of the crookedness was going on because we have both ledgers.
Yes.
To know what was going on the inside.
Because aren't we all the community? Aren't we all here to help?
Yes.
And we should all be working together to help people who need the help.
Yeah. Correct. I just think that they found a way by the way the county didn't want to do the contract with the buy-in forest. They kept looking for a way for the past 2 years to go ahead and do away with the original buy-in forest that started out, and then so they can find a way. So that's why they went and ran the contract, gave it to KCR. Then KCR, they worked a masterpiece how to not to partner with us or that, but they're still in violation of their contract. You understand that they got from Commerce. If you read it, I've read it. You know, then they got the amended contract, got more money in November. You know what I'm saying? The other contract started June.
They just got some more money and told you they just got more money and told you couldn't pay for your hotel.
So I'm just saying,
I just don't get it.
Maybe you should go visit Section 8.
Yeah, right, huh? Well, wait, but I can't though because guess what? When you put me up in the system now, I'm no longer tied into any of their programs.
At KCR?
Yeah, at KCR.
They wiped you out?
They wiped me out. I am no longer tied into any of their housing programs. And you know what also is tied to my name? A letter that says that I qualified for a Bremerton Housing Section 8 voucher, but I can no longer get it because I owe my apartment $7,000. And until I pay my apartments the $7,000 that I owe them, I will never receive my Section 8 voucher. But I owe that $7,000 to my apartments because of them.
Because of the program.
And that's what I told him. I said,
because the program failed you and put you in that dilemma.
I said, I owe
and
that
put
money.
you homeless.
Okay, so
and my kids.
Yeah.
That mind you, my kids volunteer to help out with the community and help out. They come and help you, Miss Deborah.
Yes.
When they come and help with anybody doing any kind of like vote when it comes to like
running for
office and stuff. My kids volunteer their time to come and put up all kinds of signs.
They do their community service.
They do.
But they have the funds, so why don't they pay your back rent?
There you go. That's
this
what I
is
told him.
this is what
Why
I'm
don't
saying.
you guys pay my
This is nonsense.
Well, they
This
said,
is this
I think,
eviction off of my record now, because I can't even me moving forward currently
You have
is
eviction.
not an option, because I have an eviction on my record now, which
that
now,
they implemented
Yep.
because they did not serve you and the program failed. So they put you in that predicament. You know, this is a conversation that we can continue having because it's very vital. We have several people, even when they sent people to Kitsap Legal, and I really wanted this to get out there. Kitsap Legal, we had Mr. Addison out there. So many of our people of color are single fathers, single mothers who have come to us. I've been in court with them where they didn't get a fair shake in the courtroom, weren't even offered to do a payment plan and then move out without receiving that eviction.
Oh, wow.
And then, you know, they receive money from the county to prevention.
Especially when my apartments even gave us that option, I had no idea that was something that they even brought. They didn't even want to go to court. They wanted to settle this outside of court and start a payment plan. I didn't find that out until after I received my eviction. And I wasn't even
Same
provided
thing
that
with Justin Hamilton.
I wasn't even provided
Kia
that offer.
Thornton. Do I have to keep Lacey? You know, they know I'm using their names. You know what I'm saying? And every one of those people are people of color. Something's wrong with this picture here. And I believe those people, some of them had Mr. Addison.
I did.
You had Addison.
I did not have Addison, but I did have another one, and I did get a very good deal, and I did get a payment plan.
You did.
But I didn't use Addison because I spoke to you about that.
Yes.
And I didn't use him. I did get another attorney, and he was very good.
Yes.
And I was able to make arrangements. And matter of fact, my last thing, they just canceled it. And I just worked with the landlord.
Definitely. So, yes.
So I did not get an eviction. So they did do that for me, but I did not have Addison as my attorney.
Why that happened in your favor.
Actually, they tried to give me Addison, and I said, I do not want Addison. Is there anyone else available? And I did get someone else, and he was really good.
Oh, that was good. So I'm glad that outcome for you.
But that was only
good.
because I had spoke to you, and you said, don't go to. So as soon as they brought,
too many
and that's
of
exactly
our people of color
and that's
was
who they were
getting
trying to-
evicted and
Yeah.
were getting writ. And then he wasn't giving them that option, you know, to do a payment plan
Right.
and go ahead and surrender the property. You know what I'm saying? With them, he wasn't giving them that option. I was in court with people.
But I did do
with
that. I
him.
did do what you said. I surrendered. I had everything cleared out. I did every step. So maybe that's why my outcome was a little different. But I didn't use Mr. Addison. So, but
Okay.
they did help me though.
Okay, you know, we're going to wrap this up. We can continue this. This is a conversation we really need to have. And too bad when they have their meetings and sit at the table, they don't bring everybody to the table. It's sad that out there, accountability of those individuals that's receiving these fundings, that they're not held accountable. And I still will say how the county gave that contract for the buying force, have the contract through KCR and not through the county because they wanted them to go ahead to shift the monies, I always call it, and not hold them accountable. I mean, look how long have they not been held accountable? You know, does Commerce need to come in and check out the county? Does Commerce need to come in and do an audit with the county and with KCR?
I wonder how that audit would go with them.
But who's holding anybody accountable to what's happening out here? Number one thing, where are your numbers? With this last contract that started June 1, July 1 of 2023, how many people of color or how many black people? Marwan always says, stop saying people of color. How many black people have been served? What are your numbers? What are your numbers? They brought the buy-in fours in for a reason. To make sure that black people and other people of color races got served. were served.
Okay.
And then they found a way to cut us out. I think this has been happening for centuries of time.
And they basically just took our clients because
Correct. Well, they took our numbers when we
took
first
the number.
started.
Oh, yeah, they definitely took the numbers.
I mean, it takes Marwan and those guys say those were our numbers. You took them and made them your numbers.
Right.
When we built those numbers up
Correct.
of our people getting served.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
so
Why
you
they
use
merged
us
what
to
you guys-
rather get more money,
merged you guys
and then
with you guys in the 1st
let's
place.
do them away.
Correct. And that's what and they're still doing it.
Oh yes,
So,
I've been doing it for centuries of time.
It's just, to me, it's just, I guess, very disheartening when you do things like that, when you work and you work and work. I was at your house at 3:00 in the morning one time. As a matter of fact, I was at your house beyond that. I even went to work from your house and I was exhausted, you know? And this is the type of work we put in just to be told we didn't do it.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Kirsten Jules sent us through hell,
Yeah.
and Matt Garrett.
And that's why when they attacked you personally, that's why it was a personal attack to me, because everyone who worked with your agency, that's why we were so angry. We were like, hold up. Just like the meeting we asked for Matt that time. And you were like, hold on, my employees want answers. And we all, Matt, remember we had that meeting with Matt at KCR? And he was like, oh my God, it wasn't you. We were like, hold on. Are you accusing us of doing things? Because this, you know.
And then here to come out, they poor Carla Foster ended up being the fall guy. You know, for
course, the black woman
poor
would be the
Carla
fall guy.
Foster.
Yeah.
Yes, you know what they did to her, and she was just trying to do the right thing, and then they made her do the wrong thing. Then she ended up being accountable. I said, you're going to be the fall guy for that, because we wouldn't serve the client. And they made her, she refused, and then they made her go ahead and serve the client. Then she ended up getting fired for the client. You know what I'm saying? So,
and that's
yes.
that's
So
terrible.
I just think people need to know what's going on, what's happening out there.
Correct.
Everything that looks good on the outside is not always good.
How do you say go to KCR when you feel like you're sending people there as a business owner? You know, I do in-home care services. This is what I do. A lot of time I go into people's houses and they need a lot of services that KCR provides, but I'm not comfortable sending my clients to them. I'll drive
one thing
all
you
the
got
way
to
to
worry
Seattle
about,
or something. But
are
why
they
do I have
going
to
to
go
get
out of my-
service?
That's what I'm saying. Why do I have to go out of our community to get them served?
Definitely. Well, ladies and everything, we could go on and on about this conversation. With this conversation, it's a much conversation that needs to be heard. You know what I'm saying? That needs to be shared. It needs to go all the way down to Olympia. Commerce needs to know. Our commissioners need to know. You know what I'm saying? You're just sitting behind a desk and doing
We need to get on the
paperwork and
bus.
making
Let's
decisions.
go.
Yeah.
Let's not.
Take the
We ain't
bus.
gonna talk about it. Let's get on the bus. We're gonna let's get on
ladies,
the bus and go.
We're gonna have to wrap this up, you know, and then I hope to go ahead. We continue this conversation and have you back on the show again. I wish we could have more in an audience. You know what I'm saying? That would be really effective. You know, our voices need to be heard. Your voices need to be heard. And Ms. Gaines, I'm really sorry for the position that they put you and your children in. And we're going to see what we can get done about that, and hope by this being viewed that someone will see it and take action. Yeah, definitely. Don't cry again.
Don't do
I was
it.
trying to keep the good looks going still. But once again, we hope our viewers heard, listen in, view, share, and tune in. Once again, thank you for viewing and being with us today. Real Talk with DMJ.